call the meeting of the ordinance committee. If I have this right, it looks like the first item is resolution number R2418. Is that correct, Judge? Good. A resolution confirming the appointment to the Lake Catherine Water Works and Sewer Facilities Board of Garland County, Arkansas.
I'll move for a due pass, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for a due pass. I will tell you in advance that I'm not going to be voting on this because sometimes I end up representing those districts. And so I typically, you've been here when I've done this before, I will not be voting on that. So this is to confirm Don Osseroff to serve another 5-year term on that board, Lake Catherine Water Works and Sewer Facilities Board, with his new term to expire on September 28, 2029. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. I don't oppose, but I'm not going to vote for the reasons I previously said. All right, the next one is resolution number R24-19. Resolution of the Quorum Court of Garland County, Arkansas, authorizing the Garland County prosecuting attorney to apply for a fiscal year 2024-2025 Arkansas Department of Finance and Administration Drug Task Force Investigator Grant totaling $169,658 on behalf of the prosecuting attorney's office. The requested amounts include $58,547 in federal funds, $86,499 in state funds, and a local match of $24,642.
Mr. Chairman, I move for a due pass.
Second.
Been a motion and a second for a due pass. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm also going to say aye. I don't feel like I have to excuse myself from voting on this particular one, and the motion has passed. Next is appropriation ordinance number O24-21, an ordinance to amend the 2024 Garland County Budget Ordinance O23-41 to anticipate revenues, appropriate and transfer funds in various budgets and for other purposes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we give the ordinance a due pass.
Second.
And a motion and a second for a due pass. Is there discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. It's given a due pass. Judge, do we need to go ahead and adopt anything with regard to the Metro Partnership?
No, sir. It's the two resolutions and the one ordinance is all we needed to look at the form of.
And
Thank you.
We've done it. Thank you.
I see the city raised their cost of working.
All right, we'll call the August meeting of the Garland County Quorum Court to order. Our first order of business will be to bring Pastor Steve Holmgren up to give us our invocation for the night. Thank you, Brother Steve, for being here this evening. Those that can't stand, please do so.
Thank you for the opportunity to be with you folks tonight. Let's pray. In the name of Jesus, Lord, we thank you for today. We praise your mighty name for who you are and what you're doing. And Lord, tonight, we call on you. We thank you, Father, for this great place, this great city. And tonight, in this meeting, decisions that need to be made, things that need to be done, Father, we look to you. We ask for your guidance. We ask for your wisdom. We ask, Father, that you be a part of everything here. And Lord, I pray, Lord, that for Hot Springs and beyond, that we would be in the United States of America, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Would you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Brother Steve. Sarah, would you please call the roll?
Justice Broughton.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Dixon.
Here.
Young.
Here.
Bright. Here. Owen.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Brazil.
Here.
Peters.
Here.
McGrew. Here. Hunter.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Rainey.
Here.
All right, thank you. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
So moved.
Motion made by Justice Brazil, second by Justice Peters. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak to an item that is on tonight's agenda? Okay, when that item comes up, just raise your hand and we'll recognize you. You got to address that when you come up. All right, the minutes from July 8th, 2024.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Rainey, second by Justice Peters. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Exhibit A through E. Got those in your packet. Minutes. Committee reports. Ordinance Committee, Chairman Owen.
Immediately before this meeting, the ordinance committee gave a repass to all of the ordinances.
Thank you. Environmental Services Committee, Public Works and Buildings, Chairman Hunter.
Judge, we did not meet.
Thank you. Finance Committee, Chair Brazil.
The minutes from the July 1st meeting accurately reflect the goings on of that meeting, and we met the previous Monday of this month, and everything received a new pass.
Thank you. Human Resources Committee, just Chairman Anderson.
Judge, we did meet.
All right. Public Health, Welfare, and Safety Committee, Justice Rainey.
Judge, we did not meet.
All right, and IT Committee, Chairman Young.
Yes, July 25th. We met.
It was a quick meeting too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Wasn't too long.
All right. Chair will entertain a motion to accept committee reports.
So moved.
Motion made by Justice Dixon, second by Justice Anderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Justice Anderson was recognized Friday night as a living legend by the Difference Makers of Hot Springs. He's done a wonderful job in his district and done a good job of being a part of law enforcement and a lot of our community. And I'm proud of the fact that they recognize that, Thomas, and good job for everything you've done.
Thank you.
Sarah, resolution R-2418, would you read that by title only, please?
Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution confirming the appointment to the Lake Catherine Waterworks and Sewer Facilities Board of Garland County, Arkansas.
Move to adopt. Second.
Motion made by Justice Brown, second by Justice Brazil. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
I'm going to not vote on this particular issue because, as the court knows, I have, over a period of time, represented one or more of these types of improvement district boards. And I'm not presently representing anybody on this board, but I might sometime in the future.
Understood. The record reflects Justice Owen recused from voting. Thank you, Ray. R-2419, Sarah, by title only, please.
Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution of the Quorum Court of Garland County, Arkansas, authorizing the Garland County Prosecuting Attorney to apply for the fiscal year 2024-2025 Arkansas Department of Finance and Administration Drug Force Task Force Investigator Grant totaling $169,658 on behalf of the Prosecuting Attorney's Office. The requested amounts include $58,547 in federal funds, $86,499 in state funds, and a local match of $24,612.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Peters, second by Justice Brown. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you, Jill. If you want to go, you got approval. I know you've got a lot going on, and the judge stipulated today. All right. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Chair will entertain a motion to suspend the rules for the appropriation ordinance by title only. Motion made by Justice Brazil, second by Justice Peters. Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Bright. Owen.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Brazil.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
McGrew. Yes. Hunter.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Rainey.
All right, Sarah, O-2421, the title.
Being enacted by the Quorum Court of Garland County, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to amend the 2024 Garland County Budget Ordinance O-2341 to anticipate revenues, appropriate, transfer funds in various budgets and for other purposes.
Move to adopt.
Motion made by Justice Brown, second by Justice Peters. Any discussion? No discussion. Sarah, please call the roll.
Justice Broughton.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Bright. Yes. Owen.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Brazil.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
McGrew. Yes. Hunter.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Rainey.
All right, 2421 passes. Gary.
We shooting for record tonight? I'll go fast if you want me. Thank you, everyone. A report on the economic development since we last met. Been working with Judge Thornton in Malvern, not only with the Jones Mill, but also a restaurant over there that we're bringing here to Hot Springs. Cheryl and I had a meeting with Mark Bradshaw, the general manager at the Passport Center, to meet a couple managers. I know that you all probably get questions as well about passports, even though we don't have person that we could just call immediately here. If you have someone that needs a passport in emergency, you can still call Congressman Westerman's office. He's got someone dedicated to that, but we do have some people here that we can reach out to if we're down to a couple days. So, but I thought we were going to have a contact like we did pre-COVID, but we don't. There's still one same protocol just to go through him. But at least we have a point person we can check if we get down to the wire. Cole attended an ABC site readiness lunch and learn at Hope. We've been pushing to get Pike County ACT Work Ready Community established. As you know, Glenwood and surrounding areas is a key part of our Garland County workforce, and we want those folks to be as far along in the process as well. It's kind of been slow there, but I've been working with Corey yesterday on that. Gary and Hannah have been shooting all of their. I've been shooting a lot of video for school, as we know, started at Hot Springs a couple weeks ago. I think Lakeside started today, Lake Hamilton tomorrow. But instead of two old guys presenting to a bunch of kids, because we have hit everybody, it seems like, in the county, we're coming back this year with videos from like Wayne Smith at Oakland, Tony McKinley at Cobalt, Dr. Doug Ross at CHI, et cetera, and Judge Mahoney with the county, and putting a face with the name of the companies and organizations so the kids can see that, in addition to Gary and I walking them through the areas for employment. He and I had a meeting with New Mountain Pine Superintendent Tish Knowles, and I think if y'all have met her, you've probably got a very, very favorable impression, as we did. So we're excited to welcome her to the community. Our MSA group, Village, Malvern, Arkadelphia, and Hot Springs met here in Hot Springs. It was my turn to host that group. Vicki and I attended the National Chamber Conference in Dallas. They had about 1,500 attendees there. Cole and I participated in the Workforce Development Committee Zoom. He continues to be on the Arkansas Broadband Leaders Network calls every other week. We had a prospect in town for the Army-Navy Hospital. There's been renewed interest there in saving it. And what I would tell you all is that we toured it a couple weeks ago, and we hadn't been in it in about 2 years. And we were very concerned because if you walk in there, you know, you can imagine probably what the first floor looks like. It's deteriorated pretty good because it was just a showpiece before. But the second floor's just got mold and things coming off the ceiling and wall. We were really afraid what we might find when we got beyond the second floor, but we were able to go all the way to the very top, to the ninth floor, and then climb the spiral staircases up to what in essence be the 12th floor. And it's really not that bad a shape. So saving that is still a possibility. You know, we're going to play the cards either way. We want to do what's best for the community and the building and property itself. But I think any fear we had that the upper floors were just gone beyond salvage is not true. Gary and I were back at Hot Springs, his alma mater, this summer, well, a few weeks ago. Dr. Nahus had us out to their staff and faculty. We gave our final presentation from last year to over 400 of their teachers, K through 12. And we hosted an AI lunch and learn that we kind of sold out at 55 folks. We'll be splintering those into smaller groups now for those interested. We've had our statewide awards nominating committee meet. We want to continue to get plenty of good leaders in Garland County recognized on a statewide basis. I won't go through all the lists, but I will tell you that we nominated Dr. Doug Ross as the Executive of the Year. I think y'all could all agree with that. One of the, if you know Doug and CHI St. Vincent is kind of de facto been recognized as the #1 hospital in the state and top place to work. We had our third meeting with the MakeMyMove.com folks out of Indianapolis, as far as marketing Garland County as a home office destination for stay-at-home workers. It wasn't our doing, but I did want to bring to your attention the Arena Football League, the Wise Guys. They had their name and logo revealed. Attended the SCDC annual conference in Savannah last week and was reappointed as Arkansas alternate director. So we're proud to be involved with that organization with 17 of our neighboring states. I want to, if I may, I'll just split it. And hopefully I'll guess this right. That is the Hot Springs Growth Report that we were approached about in April doing for Arkansas Business. Initially, they'd asked us to do 12 pages. It wound up being 20. I want to publicly thank Cole for being integral in putting that together. He wrote 3 of the articles. Oakland wrote one for us, and they sponsored the section, by the way, on Mystic Dan winning the Kentucky Derby. I wrote one on workforce, and Vince Signorelli's team wrote one on pickleball. So we're glad to share that with everyone across the state and brag about Hot Springs and Garland County, get more folks to come join us. Gary and I went over to Benton the other day to visit with them on growth, builders, contractors. So we, obviously are going to need those with water on the horizon coming next year. We had a Tri-Lake MPO meeting. Had an AEDC conference Zoom meeting. We'll host the conference. The conference is only 13 days away, and we're excited about getting to host that here at Oakland. Had the pleasure of introducing Randy Cook from the State Chamber, Dr. Rotary last week. Brian Smith led our Metro Partnership Board meeting, and Cole and I met with Bill Ritter and new National Park College President Dr. Wade Durden about a project we are trying to bring to the college that would greatly improve workforce education. Workforce Development Board met last week, and Gary and I met with the folks at U Science today, and that is important because we are able to help fund aptitude testing for students. That funding had been cut, and if you will remember when you were 17, I bet you took one. I don't know the name of it. It's been the Cooter Preference Test, the Myers-Briggs, and a couple other things. It's called U Science now. But in our mind, it really points the young man or young woman on the direction that they have aptitude and a career path they might want to follow instead of just, wandering around throughout their late teens and 20s. Judge, that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions.
Judge,
The report.
Second.
I was just going to ask. I was just going to thank Gary. He usually introduces at the beginning of his speech who all he's got with him. He's got a few of his board of directors, the president of the board of realtors here with him. You want to introduce everybody, Gary?
Thank you, JP Myers. I've slipped on that because I got excited. Y'all were going so fast. I didn't realize it on that. We've got our 2017 Metro Partnership Chair, Forrest Spicer, and Chamber Chair from before then. As you mentioned, Carol Bell's president of the Board of Realtors. Her husband, Ralph, is a great supporter. Justin Nicholas, who is on our Chamber Tech Committee, and Cole and Gary are with us tonight. So I think that's everyone. For you.
All right. Thank you, Gary. Any discussion on your report? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Thank you all very much.
All right. In your packet, you have a disposal of county property. Got any questions about that?
Monumental undertaking to get rid of all this, isn't it? Yeah, it must have been putting stuff together out of the closet for I don't know how long.
Probably the library probably has the toughest job trying to put everything together to remove that stuff. It's a large group. And this is,
You need from us just a motion to approve it.
yeah, just acknowledge it.
Second.
Motion made by Justice Roney, second by Justice Anderson. Justice Broughton. Justice Anderson. Mr. Fleming, you want to speak to that?
Concerning the disposal of property, several years ago, before I asked a question concerning the sale, I must say that it's normally been announced at the Quorum court meetings about this sale of public property, but it was not announced at the court meeting, and I knew nothing about it. And one of the JPs tonight said I didn't even know that we had it on the 22nd. But I asked these questions concerning missing property that belongs to Garland County. I asked 3 questions concerning the disposal of county equipment, etc. Does county employees have in their possession any of the disposed equipment? John Howard responded later on, county employees and officials are not allowed to personally benefit from public property. Sale and disposal of county property are governed by the state law. The second question I asked, does the public or county employees have the opportunity of bidding or buying this equipment or anything that is disposed of? John Howard read me the law. County employees and officials are not allowed to personally benefit from public property. Sale and disposal are governed by the state. Number three, does county employees use county equipment from a chainsaw to heavy equipment to improve their property? Same statements from John Howard. I called John Howard back and I said, John, I did not get an answer from the Quorum Court, from the county judge, or from you. But the question is, these three questions have not answered. John's response, Mr. Fleming, I can only quote the law. So, all of this equipment, all that's been sold at the landfill, new trucks and equipment that has been bought at the landfill. I don't remember hearing any information concerning buying all the equipment. So I say to you tonight, and I ask the question again, is does any county employee or official have in their possession tonight any equipment that did or is the county's possessions? Do they have in their possession any Garland County equipment, even from this sale?
Mr. Fleming, I believe that there was a notice in the newspaper about that county sale.
All right.
You know? Well, why you asked the question?
No, I don't get the paper, but it's always been announced year after year concerning the sale of this equipment. When I was hit by the tornado, I made several trips to the landfill, and I asked the employees, what is this? County equipment, we're going to sell it. And so I knew nothing about the sale because I don't get I don't take the paper since it's.
Mr. Fleming, your 3 minutes are passed.
Mr. Fleming,
Could I ask this?
we have heard this same suggestion that there's some possibility that things are missing. If I ask John Howard, do employees steal toilet paper? If he hasn't seen them or no one's come forward to him to see, it seems like your innuendo has been going on for a year and a half or 2 years, that you know that somebody has stolen something from the county. If you want to come forward and make a report, why don't you do that? But I'm a little tired of your suggestion that something's happening that you have made no evidence towards.
Mr. Fleming, in reference to your question about the auction, we did a request for proposals from auction companies, and we received a proposal from Cox Auctions, and they took care of every bit of the advertising for the auction, and we had a huge turnout. So I don't think that you didn't know about it is a good response, because we had, I think, over 1,500 online bidders, and there were about 75 people on site.
I knew.
Your 3 minutes passed, Mr. Fleming. Mr. Fleming.
If they would vote to give me an extra 5 minutes. If the Quorum Court will vote to give me an extra, I need a roll call from the Quorum Court giving me additional 5 minutes.
Mr. Fleming, I don't believe you're in charge of anything, and my vote's no.
All right. I need to respond.
Mr. Fleming, your time is up, and I haven't heard anyone make a motion.
This is not over.
Yes, ma'am. You want to speak to this same item? You have to speak to something on the agenda.
Sharon Pratt, and I live in District 3. I don't know if anybody has the answer to my question, but does the county have a policy in its HR handbook already that outlines that county employees are not to bid on these sales? And if that is in fact in the handbook, then I think we can put this matter to sleep unless there's evidence otherwise.
Yes, ma'am, it's state law. There's a
Okay.
statute that prevents that.
Thank you.
Anyone have anything else? Okay, one moment. There's an overtime sheet on your screen up there. I think it's in your packet that was not on the agenda. You want to take a moment and look at that? It's on the screen. It's finance. Same one that came to finance, yes. I see Dayton thinking he needs glasses now, I'm pretty sure. Apologies for not bringing it up before.
You need an action from us.
Just to acknowledge that we looked at it.
Move to acknowledge.
Motion made by Justice Brown, second by Justice Rainey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Judge. Old business or new business? I'm not sure. John Howard will have to determine. I believe it's old business.
I think they were through with that item.
I would like to ask the judge to call a public health safety welfare meeting for two different issues, neither of which are critical of you in any way. You've done a great job on both of these things. But the public I've gotten more calls on not the 911, on my 2 points. One being, I want to discuss the proposal of the millage to be approved later this year, which could potentially fund our emergency services. Given the city of Hot Springs' decision not to merge 911 service with Garland County, I am exploring the possibility of using the funds from this decision not to merge to support the 911 positions, thereby avoiding the need to raise property taxes. That portion of the property taxes.
Let me speak to that now. So we were summoned to the 911 board, the state 911 board, to speak to the merger. And the city of Hot Springs stated they had not made a decision as to whether they were going to merge or not. I know there was some conversation here. There were some articles, and I think you were actually on the Zoom call. I had to do a Zoom meeting, and they had an in-person meeting at the 911 board, and they said that they had not made a decision as of yet.
So the article in the paper was not correct.
I'm just telling you what the last meeting we had, and David, I think that you had privy to CJ's information that he had. The city of Hot Springs said at that meeting that they were not, they had not made their mind up yet.
Still a possibility of a merger.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're actually in process.
You
we went ahead with 2 more CAD hookups over here because we will use Southern software in the event of a merging. So we have went ahead to get our other 2 CAD systems fired up over here, as well as bringing our 911 lines in. I signed the contract this week to go ahead with those because we need them for training and we'll need them for
I don't
use.
have an opinion on that. You know a lot more than that about that than you've forgotten more than I'll know. If there is not a merger, then we will have an emergency meeting. I hope before we pass the 1 mil.
I think
with the 911 in it, if money is coming from the state.
I think we're going to look at that at budget in October. So we'll look at it at budget. We should have an answer by then and what we want to do. And then Susan and I have been working on it, trying to pin down exactly what it would take to do what we'd asked for in the event that we receive that funding. So we will get it down to just what we have to have. And I made that commitment to you when we decided to do that in May. made that commitment to you. If we got the money from the city of Hot Springs and we could apply it towards those positions, we would only ask for the part that we needed.
Okay, from what I understood, just from the article, there was not going to be a merger. So
Yes, and that's what that was actually news to me.
We can eliminate that one. And the point two, I've not received more calls in almost 8 years I've been here than anything other than the Senior Citizen Center.
Yes, so
and
that's
I
a
would
pretty
like to take that so the public could speak. We've got some ladies. I have some ladies that repetitiously call me every 10 to 14 days and are determined that they're not going to die without a Senior Citizen Center in Hot Springs.
I hope
And
I don't either.
Told them we bring that before the board, and I believe we need to for everybody, for our purposes and everything. You've
Bring it before what?
Public health, safety, welfare.
To do what?
To discuss where we might be.
So
and let them speak.
So what kind of discussion you want to have about it, Jimmy? Because I can tell you that we are
the public to speak.
So CHI, more concerning than the senior center is the fact that CHI has given their notice that they will no longer run Meals on Wheels as of December 31st of this year. So even though there was urgency already, there is even more of a sense of urgency to find a building that we can actually prepare the meals in. Then we're going to have to find someone to operate it. Now, the way I understand that the Area Agency on Aging does their grant that operates most of this program, the Meals on Wheels program, they have to put it out just like any other public entity would for bid. So a 501c3 somewhere would pick it up. I've talked to several people already. CHI has been working trying to find someone. We haven't found anyone to pick it up. CHI is willing to transfer the equipment, the trucks they have, the things of that nature, to an entity that is willing to pick it up. We haven't found anybody to operate the Meals on Wheels program yet. This Friday, I am meeting to look inside the Masonic Temple. I want to see if it's got a commercial kitchen in there that would accommodate those meals. It's the size is right, and I know I've talked to you about it already. I'm sorry.
Windows.
Yeah. So, and those things can be addressed, but we have the I also drove to Pope County and met with Ben Cross, who Pope County has a very nice senior center. I have went up there and picked their plans up from when they built it, which was in 2005, and they've added on twice in 2015. So I went and picked up their plans and brought them back down here and gave them to Harrison Construction for them to give us a hard number, what it would cost to build a facility like that. I mean, we've heard $200 a square foot. We've heard $300 a square foot. We've heard a lot of different numbers, but I want to pin down and say it's going to cost $4 million to build this facility, or it's going to cost $2 million to build this facility. I want to get a good hard number so we've actually got something to look at. He's had them about 2 weeks. I drove up to, this Wednesday, I think will be 2 weeks since I drove up there and got those. Mike is going to call some kind of subs and see what it's going to take to do what they've got up there. And but the clock is ticking. And if the Masons Lodge has a good commercial kitchen, it may be something that we can operate the Meals on Wheels out of.
Right down on Grand.
Yes. And I think that both buildings go with it. I think there's one right adjacent to it, and then the one that is there. And, obviously some windows can be installed during some type of rehab. And I know that there's some concern about vagrancy there, but I also think that we might have an opportunity to clean that area up since it's exposed on Grand and Central at the back. I want to go look at it, see what it looks like, and see what kind of shape it's in the inside, if it's laid out. I'm taking the lady from Oakland Agency on Aging, and I hope to get Barbara Flowers from AAA here as well to go in there and look at it and see if it meets the needs to do the evidence-based programs that they have to get the grants and the Meals on Wheels program. Right now, I'm more concerned about the Meals on Wheels than anything because of the number of people they feed each day. And we honestly, we have discussed this every single day in our meetings since March of this year. Our meetings have declined from we're willing to try to help partner on this to we're not going to do it anymore with CHI. So I think they're going to still, and I say I think they're still going to help us fund the operations of it. On a three-way split, like the city, county, and CHI would do. I know we pledged $100,000 a year, and the city did too, and so I'm hoping that we could get that in addition to the grant that AAA has. But I have not got hard numbers yet on what the operations actually cost now for the Meals on Wheels program. I had no idea that they service so many people across the county. It's not a small area that they service. It's all of Garland County that they service. And we're not the only ones with these pains. CADC has quit the programs all around us. So the counties surrounding us no longer have the support of CADC either. So everybody is reaching into the same pot. And I believe that if we don't have a facility to where they can at least do the Meals on Wheels programs, provide the cooking and all of that stuff, they actually deliver a hot meal and then they give you a frozen meal for later too. So that's going to be one of the biggest hurdles we have to overcome first. And we have got to have something in place by the end of the year. This past week was the first time that CHI had actually notified Area Agency on Aging that they were no longer going to do Meals on Wheels as of December 31st. So we've got to find somebody to pick that up. Or I think they feed about 500 people a day.
Everything you said is the reason that I believe we need to have a meeting where the public can speak and we can.
Jimmy, if you've got a solution, I'm willing to hear it.
That is not the point. The point is the public wants to hear what you just said, and this is not a meeting for the public to hear that. And I've requested a public health, safety, welfare meeting.
We're having one this month.
Judge, our rules say that if I request a meeting, that it should be held.
I just told you we're having one this month.
Okay.
We're having a public health, welfare, and safety program this month to introduce Make My Move. And we can also have discussion on the senior center.
Thank you. These ladies are adamant that
I can't hear you, Jimmy.
These ladies are adamant that they hear.
They're not going to hear anything.
This isn't critical of you, Judge. As a matter of fact, I've told them many, many times on many, many phone calls. The judge is looking very hard at something to do. And but what made them last week tell me we have to hear more officially, and I said, well, that would be a committee meeting most likely, was that the city is going forward with hiring someone to work in their cooling center or whatever they've chosen to call it, and that we have a city of population with a greater population than almost any town in Arkansas, senior citizens. And they said, we want to hear what we're going to do, or we're going to hear, and
we're doing all we can.
I told them I would do everything I could to call a meeting.
And we don't have a part of the resource center.
So, well, thank you that'll be on the agenda.
So we will do that, and we will address the senior citizen center and your constituents before we do the Make My Move. It'll be the fourth Monday of this month, and so please ask them to be here, and hopefully I'll have some more information after I meet at the Masonic Lodge.
Make sure that meeting will be on the normal public health, safety, welfare.
It's the fourth Monday always.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's always the fourth Monday, Jimmy.
Appreciate it.
It's on the website.
Yeah, well, I'm aware.
Judge Mahoney, I'd just like to open since some people may watch this online, we have at least a couple of dozen members from the public here. If you've got any idea of a place for the senior citizen center or for just for the Meals on Wheels that we can lease, rent, go into for free or buy, please contact any of the JPs, the county judge, anybody. I mean, Judge Mahoney and I have had several conversations about this. He's very actively looking for a place to put one or both of these facilities, ideally. So anybody that's got a suggestion, even if you might think it's a silly place to put it, we're looking at all options, trust me. So contact that man right there. He's been working his tail off to find us a place. That's all.
Anybody? Mr. Fleming? Do you have a place to put the senior center? Okay, that's what we're talking about right now. No, we're discussing the senior center location. Hey. No, you come up here where we can hear you. Because I know you're always got good ideas. You can project up here. Everybody wants to see you anyway.
You cannot speak under an alias.
So how many meals go out a day?
500.
500. That's what I want to know. That's it.
But Judy, do you have some place that we can put it? So there is the option of leaving I think that the CHI said that we could, for a limited time, use the McCauley Center to continue the Meals on Wheels. But when you do that, you're depending upon that area. McCauley Center is at the village. And when you do that, to me, your workforce is limited. And I think that we need to put it in the center part of the city here so that we can service everything as a bullseye rather than trying to service everything from the village, because it just extends your route when you come to what is probably the most densely fed area, which is Hot Spring. So they did say that, and there's some equipment in there that they said they bought with a grant that they're willing to convey. They have not exactly told us how that would convey, whether it had to be bought, or they would sign it over, or they would lease it to us, or anything like that. But I do know that they have reached out to about 5 different groups, and none of them can take on the size of this program and run it efficiently. It's a burden. I think that's CHI. I mean, no, they don't really understand how they got into business for that, but I think it was when sister was there. I think she made the decision to try to feed the people that needed it the most. So we've been working on it nonstop, and there's just nothing. The one place we did find wouldn't work, but I think we're going to have to try to find some place and adapt it to what we need. If it means putting windows in it, even if we had to put something over them to keep them getting broken, and cleaning the area. I know that the city of Hot Springs will do extra patrols as they do over around the resource center, but this has a lot more visibility. And I was thinking that back lot, the way it's built, it could be fenced and gated so our Meals on Wheels trucks could stay in there at night, and you wouldn't have to worry about them being vandalized in any manner. We're running out of places other than trying to build a new one, and I'm afraid the length of time it would take to build it and the cost is going to be prohibitive. I've been hearing from some contractors, and Justice Hunter might be able to tell you, but it's about $350 a square foot, and that's no frills. And that's if you build 10,000 square feet, that's $3.5 million without the property. So we're trying to find something. If you could find a decent location, and I think the city and the county have both pledged $500,000 to buy. If we found a decent location and was able to buy it for $750,000 and could adapt it, even if we had to put some more money in and wind up with 1.5 in it after all, I think it would be a good investment. I know that the building that you and I talked about out there at CHI that's just sitting there empty, they have Kathy Packard actually sent an email just almost begging for them to sell us that building, and they say they just can't. They've got another use for that area, and I think they're actually going to wind up tearing the building down and building something else there. So they've got another route that they're going, and I understand that hospitals all across the nation right now are struggling financially, and so I think it's our responsibility to try to pick this up and move forward. The city's on board. If we make a move, they'll follow us into it. So I'm going to look at that building with an open mind and see if it has good bones and has what we need in it. Then we can take somebody over there and try to figure out what it would take to adapt it to what we need. And I know that you went over there and had the same impression when you drove to the parking lot I did, but well, if it's well lit, add a lot of lighting where it's well lit, and maybe have a reserve there from time to time. None of these guys look old enough to even enjoy a senior center, but they might be. But yeah, we'll certainly discuss it for your ladies there at Public Health, Welfare, and Safety,
Thank
Jimmy. There's just a lot going on, and it has been a priority. And I promise you, I have not let it slip one time from my mind to try to find
Well, I
something.
know you've worked on it consistently.
Every building that we've looked at, you can find the perfect building, but it's in a bad location. There's a church that's off Lock Haven Road out Albert Pike, right across the road tracks. If you turn to the left and drop down in that hole right there, 10 people a day would be hit there trying to get down in there. But it's a 13,000 square foot church with about 2 acres of parking around it. It would be absolutely perfect, but there's no way you can get in and out of there safely. I mean, it's a nightmare to try to come in and out of there. It was for sale, but I've been to about 4 churches. They seem to have most of what we need. They've got a big open meeting area, and then most of them have a kitchen of some kind. But when you start talking about preparing 500 meals a day, then that's a big body. We always can have some 501c3 show up that wants to operate the Meals on Wheels program and have a place to do it. But that still does not relieve us from the need for a senior center. And we're going to have one. I hope that in the next 2 weeks I can get some confirmation about some property to build one that's more centrally located, that may be donated to us if we can build one. But I'm just afraid that I could very easily seeing it be a year or a year and a half before we could get it completed and in use. We've got that project that we started on July 22nd on the 70 West Transfer Station. It's they told us a year, and it's just a metal building erected on a slab. That's, there's a small office there, but the rest of it is just open area. There's not sheetrocking and flooring and drop ceilings and things like that. So it's a difficult task, but we're gonna overcome it. But the fourth Monday is when we have the Public Health, Welfare, and Safety meeting, and that's the only thing we'll have that night unless we have an issue come up with some other need for. I think Human Resources is scheduled for that same night, but we normally don't until September. We probably won't have one, but in 2 weeks from tonight,
great,
we'll have the Public Health, Welfare, and Safety meeting at 5:30, and they can come in. Hopefully, they have some ideas of where we can put it.
They've come up with several, but we've talked about the ones they've come up with already. They're just concerned. They just want to hear,
And one of the ones that we talked about, and Justice Myers and I discussed it as well, and they seem to have no interest in leasing at the time, was the old Hancock Fabric building out by the mall. And now Smokey Joe's is moving in there. So they had interest in leasing it to them. But if we can build something and have that is owned by us to where you can't get kicked out and you're going to have the promise of having a senior center forever, I think that's our best move. And I'm willing to come ask you for whatever it takes to get one put together. And I know that the court had the same opinion. We discussed it before when we had located the one on Hobson, that everybody was in. It was just the wrong location. And looking back, we might have should have done an interim there until we could find a better place just to try to get these meals. But who would have known that these meals were going to be in question? I had no idea that CHI would quit doing it, but it's a pretty large burden, and I think they're going through a pretty heavy streamlining process right now, as all hospitals are.
Talk about the church across from National Park Medical Center.
We did, and so it's owned by an individual here in Hot Spring. And I reached out to them, and it's in a state of disrepair. And I reached out to them, and they said, "Let me think about it. I was going to do some improvements over there and maybe build some medical offices, but let me think about it." I said, "Okay, well, that's a chance." Then he called me and he said, "Let me talk to my wife." I said, "Okay." It's usually not a good sign when you got to talk to your wife. But anyway, I haven't heard another word from them. So yeah, it is. There's a lot of square footage there. The building that actually was the church itself has failed a bit. You know, they had a house on site there that clergy stayed in. They tore it down because it's a big parking lot. It'd be ideal. I mean, it's right across from services, but I can't get anybody to turn loose and stuff. And quite honestly, the value of property in Garland County has not checked up, and I think that most of them realize that everything's full, and they can build something and fill it up, and a return on their investment. You know, a long term return on their investment is what they're wanting. Uh, Residual income, something we all look for as we grow older. And the guy's super nice that owns it, but I haven't heard anything back from him. So either his wife said no and he's ashamed to tell me that, or he's just gave up and hopes I go away. But I won't. I'll ask him again, but I'm pretty sure it's off the table. But that's about the only options that are viable. We've looked at 2 or 3 other churches, one over off of West St. Louis. It had some foundation issues. That had basically had kind of cracked out in the basement area. It had a big open area inside, but when you start trying to prepare 500 meals for people, you need a big kitchen, and you need some staff that is used to doing that. And that's probably going to be the next issue. But the staff that works for CHI now, I think that they would convey. I mean, I think they'd be willing to come to work for whatever partner we found to do it. Seem to have a lot of people that would raise their hand for short term, which is maybe what we're going to have to do. But I don't have any long term takers yet. But the first step was to have CHI submit their resignation, and their resignation was effective at the end of the year, which is fantastic because that gives the Area Agency on Aging an opportunity to put this out for bid and see if somebody does show up. It's a lot of area to cover here, 700 square miles, and there's meals that go to all corners of it. And there's people they're dependent on these meals. So it's a lot to take in, but we'll discuss it more at the Public Health, Welfare, and Safety meeting. And then, Gary, I've got the folks from Make My Move coming that evening to try to explain to the Public Health, Welfare, and Safety meeting about how that works. Yeah, and they'll be here that night as well, and that's a pretty good program. But we want to get so that your constituents don't have to stay too late. We will take them first, and I'll make the gentleman from Make My Move aware that he can probably not come till 6. We'll start them at 6 or after, depending on how much discussion we have. How many people do you think, Jimmy?
Well, more than 5 probably, but there's a core group of 5, and there's sweet gals that just have stayed on it. And I said, we'll get you where you can give some opinions and hear some input. And
yeah, I'd like solutions. Is what I'd like. If they got any solutions?
Maybe by then we'll come up with something. Maybe by then.
Yeah, I think the last 2 times I've talked to Dr. Ross at CHI, he's been getting hammered even at church about it, and they're in just a better spot. They don't want to let it go, but they have to. They've provided that service for a long time. So it may get expensive for us for a little while, but we're going to have to find some way to do it because it's just when you get people depending on those meals. All right. Anything else? I got any more troubles tonight? Anything else?
There's no further discussion from any of the JPs, I would move that we adjourn for the evening.
Yes. I'm sorry. You can speak to anything on the agenda. Anything that's on the agenda.
Well, I'd like to donate my time to Mr. Fleming.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to donate my time to Mr.
That would take a vote of the court to do that, ma'am.
Pardon?
That would take a vote of the court to donate time to someone else. Have a motion to donate time to Mr. Fleming so he can speak.
Just for the sake of transparency, I'll make the motion.
Dies for lack of a second. Mr. Fleming? Mr. Fleming, you had your opportunity to address the quorum court. Mr. Fleming, you have to address something that's on the agenda. We have a motion to adjourn on the floor.
Second.
My motion still stands. Mr. Fleming, I think basically what I just tried, I promise you as your JP that I'd make that motion. It failed due to a lack of a second. I don't think we're going to get anywhere on the second time in this meeting for allowing you time to speak. So therefore my motion to adjourn stands.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.